Hello, welcome to Follow Everton. I think my energy levels at this point are probably similar to those that just watched the end of that match. It's frustration, deflated. We feel like a team that's really at a low point right now. We it was our first loss at the Hill Dickinson. Oh, we've lost before, but in the Premier League season. And Ryan's going to be joining us in a moment. Let's see. Hello, Mr. Gutted
Oh,
Ryan. You can take over, and I will react accordingly and keep tabs on the comments as you go.
I'm absolutely gutted. And you saw it coming from really early into the game. Tottenham had a very clear plan to frustrate, to suffocate us. And I think Craig Pawson aided in that. It was a tag team of Tottenham and the refereeing, officiating allowed it to become what I would consider a shit show. And David Moyes was tactically outclassed by Thomas Frank, failed to recognise the issues. Number one, where do you fucking start with this? I'm not being funny. But breaking up the play before it gets to the areas where they're going to win corner after corner after corner after corner would help if the midfield could actually do something. Your striker's completely isolated because you've got Dewsbury Hall, who's this faux number 10, but actually is playing most of his football as a number 8, drifting over to the left. So you've got a striker isolated, and it doesn't matter who you play. It's like swapping a Galaxy, a bar of chocolate, Galaxy bar of chocolate for a Dairy Milk. It's still chocolate. It doesn't make any difference who's up front. You could put it's just not good. It's just not acceptable. You can put a chair up front. You can put a different chair up front. It won't make a difference, Chris. It's just the same. It's just the same. It doesn't matter.
You can't score when you play with a back seven. And sometimes it really felt like that. We were too far behind the ball, and we need excellent form from 3 players, Jack Grealish, Iliman Ndiaye, and Beto, to have perfect passes, well weighted, when they can have numbers behind the ball. And we were not, especially that start of the second half, really obvious. We just had, everyone was playing back, and it's like, you're down 2-0, do something different. And then the only person that would break it up is Mikalenko, and he doesn't have enough to be that player for us, and they kept throwing him forward. It was nice to see someone up, but somebody else, please.
I don't want to criticise Barry, really, because I thought he came on. The point I was making before, just to clarify, is that it doesn't seem to matter which person goes up front. It's like swapping an apple with another apple. It's a terrible analogy, really, but it just seems the same no matter what you do, because it is what it is. It's a systematic issue. It's not a personnel issue. I think Beto or Barry would score goals, but if you isolate them and make them have to fight off 3 defenders every single time, you're making life so difficult. It's a tactical problem. And in that match, I was so angry, so frustrated with it. I mean, where'd you start with it, Chris? You got set pieces to analyse that are just poor. You're leaving players unmarked at the back post. You're not tracking runners. You've got our goalkeeper weak as piss. Their goalkeeper weak as piss, but bailed out for the goal that we scored. How the hell do you start? I mean, this is just a raw sort of straight after the full time whistle, but 3-0.
I think it's Thomas Frank did a number on David Moyes, is certainly part of it. I think the Everton players need to be held to account for sort of, I mean, Craig Pawson absolutely was part of this, but to say that it was Craig Pawson over Everton looking for Craig Pawson as an outlet is an excuse for the Everton players. Right. But if we're blaming Craig Pawson for this result, no, Everton need to be held accountable for them not testing the edge enough. All right, so we'll talk about the first goal, because looking back at it, we basically got caught out, and the commentators curse. And I was talking to Dave and Wes exactly as it happened. Oh, Everton, the last team to concede a set play.
Ridiculous.
And basically, and I think I described it on the group chat. Effectively, they went to the back post. Everton, their 3 biggest players are like playing as like front post, middle, back post, right in front, and they are stationary. So what you do is you go to the back post, isolate. So instead, what we had was, I think it was Mikalenko was in the back post with Van der Ven and one other player. And then Van der Ven ran to the front post, pulled some Everton players away. Garner Gay was sort of playing by the penalty box, the penalty spot, kind of as that roving defender.
Kind of wish we had the screenshot.
Doesn't track back with Bentancur, flips around to the back post, knocks it back. He got lucky because he missed the header, but it went off his
Yeah.
collarbone right back in, and everyone else was caught out. Mikalenko was double teamed. He couldn't get to it. Credit to Bentancur, but just it showed how stagnant zonal marking can be. And the second goal was basically
Hang
Pickford
on.
wasn't strong enough.
I
Yeah.
don't think we should jump. I don't think we should jump well past that.
Okay.
The first goal, you've got to. I understand it's zonal marking. It's a hybrid system. It's not straight zonal marking, Chris. You've got to pick up the main key threats
Yes.
that they've got there, and I think at the back post to leave a player who is a threat there unmarked was criminal. You could say that it was completely against the run of play. It truly was. We were far the better team. We were the only team going to try and play football. Mikalenko was adventurous. He had the license to get forward down that left-hand side and interchange. So I don't have any problems with the football up to that point. I have issues with the fact that we've allowed Tottenham to gain steam, build up, get so many set pieces, so many corners, and we can talk about time wasting and all that sort of stuff in a moment. But the first corner, win the header, win the second header, react. Can the keeper do more? Can the keeper change his starting position to do more? To concede that once, but to concede it twice is inexplicable. But let's move on to the second goal. But once Tottenham got ahead of steam, they did everything to slow the game down. Every throw-in took 40 minutes. I think the ball was barely in play. It was an awful, awful watch. It was what I would consider unbearable, anti-football. Everton were far the better team without really threatening. We did have a big chance. And then, of course, the goal that was not given because Iliman Ndiaye is alleged to impede Vicario. Let's be honest, Vicario is just a weak as piss goalkeeper. He struggles with crosses. He struggles with long shots. And Craig Pawson needed no invitation to rule that goal out. And I'm sorry, it was a disgusting decision.
So this is one where it's, in my view, I think it was actually, I was quite it seemed once they showed the replay, I thought it was quite obviously that we were never going to get that because you had, and it wasn't truly a foul, but they were offside. They did not foul the keeper, but by blocking him, he got his hand to it, but he was still blocked by Grealish and Ndiaye. I understand the frustration, but the fact is it wasn't a foul, but they're offside. And it's like, if that's the rule, it's the rule. But it's frustrating because that moment, you know what? We've had O'Brien who's been lacking confidence. He won his header clean in his part of it.
He did so well.
He did so well. He clearly won it. And if Ndiaye and Grealish didn't block him, I think it was still going to be a goal. So
do they need to impede him then? Why do we need to impede him?
Because he's a weak, as you said, he's a weak as piss goalkeeper. And I think the thing that was more frustrating is the rest of the match that we didn't pressure the keeper enough and put the ball in those areas to exploit his weakness. After that one, we didn't keep hammering it because we would have got a goal if we chipped away in that same tactic of pressuring the keeper, but be in an onside position. I think we would have scored from that, but we just kind of avoided the keeper and let him get away with it for the rest of the match. To me, that's one of the failings of our set plays today.
Well, moving on, David Moyes, again, accountable for this because he's given James Tarkowski, who's having a poor season, a contract to extend him for year after year. And I understand why they'd probably want to protect him, but he's 33. It'll take him to 35 or 36. Giving him another contract. But for me, he's been a weak link. Again, he's getting overshadowed by Michael Keane, who, let's be honest, wasn't the best defender. We've conceded far too many goals. We're conceding goal after goal after goal, week in, week out, without looking like scoring. We're sliding down the table. It's embarrassing. And yet we see the example from Tarkowski where they score that second goal. Kolo Muani goes around him. Tarkowski has to recover and he tackles to give away a corner. Something that could have easily been dealt with earlier up the pitch. Something that could have been dealt with without giving a corner away, maybe winning the ball. And it's just weak as piss. I mean, Tarkowski was guilty again for the third goal, and he was guilty again for the fucking one where Richarlison sort of scored, and he robbed it off him later on.
Yeah.
But it's inexplicable. He gives away the corner, and then the no leadership. It's like a silent bunch of statues. You'd see more movement between the statues on Crosby Beach between the three of them, and it's another corner And what are you fucking doing? Just win the ball. You've got a 6'7" centre halves there. Stick your head on it, win it. Or the keeper's got to do more. The keeper's getting nudged. But still, you're being weak as piss. You are an England senior goalkeeper. Stay on your feet. You're not made of stick. You're not a matchstick. You're not a twiglet. You're a 6 foot plus England international goalkeeper. Go and punch the ball. And I
It
can't
looked like
believe that we allowed that to happen again. We conceded 2 goals from a set piece in one match. It's despicable. Hello, David.
so. We're talking about the
good
set
evening.
plays, Wes.
Yeah.
What were your thoughts on those 2 goals?
Well, you can't let a centre half have 2 free headers. It's just not. You shouldn't be allowing it. It's 2 centre halves. You should be putting your body on the line. The keeper needs to be stronger. I thought the keeper wasn't great either. He pulled off some great shots, stoppers, but ultimately, I don't think he's a really great keeper. I think,
We didn't test him.
We didn't test him enough. The shots that we had were he shouldn't have been able to make saves from.
Yeah, but the shots that we did have on him never looked like scoring. They were we needed a Dwight McNeil to come on and test the goalkeeper and hit the shots. I know people are raving about Dewsbury Hall, but the style of football is so slow and deliberate, and all it does by having Dewsbury Hall in instead of a number 10 is leave your strikers so isolated. We need to be faster, we need to be more aggressive, we need to be hostile. And in a ground like this, which to some people seems quite I don't want to be hypercritical of it, but you have to give more from on the pitch to get the crowd to react because of how sterile it can be. When it's not a traditional football stadium. It's a football stadium that commands more back. But at that point, we're 2-0 down, and all I'm looking around. The big thing for me was there's very little urgency. Why are we allowing Tottenham Hotspur to take 30 to 40 seconds every single corner, every single free kick, every single throw-in? The ball is barely in play. If I was the captain, I would be running up to the ref. You got entitled to speak to the ref. Ref, they're taking the piss here. Every single throw-in, every single corner, every minute of the game, they made it unwatchable. And this shitbag club.
That's the worst part of Tarkovsky today. He was not in Paulson's face enough for these Ryan cut out. Yeah, so in moments when hey, they're dragging on every single long throw in, he's drying the ball a little bit more. It's still gonna be wet when you throw it out of your hands. And then whatever the number 4 was, the one that had the big white bit of paint on his forehead by the end. I swear it was 20 seconds thinking about what he was gonna do. What do you mean he's going to do a long throw in? No, he wasn't called out. He wasn't challenged. He wasn't given a yellow card. Able to get away with it. But Thomas Frank is very effective at managing results like that.
Yeah, but the thing is, right, is that every time they took a throw in, like you say, it took 30, 40 seconds for them to take a throw in.
Right.
But yet they're trying to speed the game up by only allowing the keepers 8 seconds to clear the ball. And you're like, well, it's counterproductive because if you're allowing people to take 20, 30, 40 seconds to take a throw in, so what difference does 8 seconds make?
It's almost as if there was, and maybe there's an interpretation difference here that needs to be addressed in the Premier League. But saying I'm doing a long throw in is now deemed a bit like you're thinking about how to do a set play corner, and it exactly what they're going to do. He's going to throw it long, try and do a flick on. So it doesn't need a bit of a long build up like a free kick or a corner, but it's been treated the same way, and it's been exploited, and it was by us today against us today.
Yeah, and the thing that I said before, didn't I? I said Dewsbury Hall, you've got in the pre-match you mentioned it, right? Dewsbury Hall, because he's got this sort of link up with Grealish. That's his first sort of instinct is to pass the ball to Grealish. And this is what's isolated. This is what you just said a minute ago, Ryan. It's just isolating Beto. It was a prime example today. Beto was stood in the middle of the goal in the 18-yard box, unmarked, and yet he's passing the ball out trying to pass the ball to Grealish, and you're like, just pass the ball through, just thread it through.
Just get the ball
Quicker.
fucking forward and spending 50 minutes the whole match, passing side to side. And don't get me wrong, Tottenham broke up the play. They made it very difficult for us to build momentum. And I'm also going to say very clearly, Everton were the better team over the 90 minutes and lost 3-0. I think that's very, very clear to me. That they were the team that wanted to play football, that tried to make things happen, that were the most pleasing on the eye. Tottenham got two stupid, shitty corners, and then the third goal is coming. It's coming on the counter attack. You're isolating. And Mikalenko for the third goal is literally jogging back like he's got zero stamina. You can see it. I'm thinking, God, why is this guy still on the pitch? Just get anyone fresh legs on just get anyone on. And the problem I think is, why are we playing into their hands? So slow. Deliberate, check back inside, slow. Centre back standing on the ball, slow. Knocking it around like we're 2-0 up. We're 2-0 fucking down at home. It's inexplicable. And I'm telling you now, this is a quarter of the season. A quarter of the season gone. We're 14th, 15th in the league. It's shit.
Yeah. And we've had wins, which is, it feels like we haven't won all season, but we beat Palace. We've beaten Wolves and we've beaten Brighton, and now we're going into the tougher part of the fixtures, and we're already mid-table, aren't we? Or sorry, like if we what are we?
Well, we did
like
play Man
Christmas?
City. We did play Man City.
Yeah, we did play Man City.
Run.
Yeah.
We've had some tough games. Make no bones about that, right? But they've got to show more.
Not at home, we haven't.
Desire. They've got to show more desire, and like not in the last 5 minutes of a game. It's like Spurs then has run out of steam. Simple as that. It wasn't that Everton were piling on the pressure and creating goals and creating chances. It was for the fact that Spurs were on were in cruise control. They had the goal game.
Can I touch on one thing you just mentioned there? And actually, Idrissa Gana Gueye. Okay.
Shocking today.
No, get him out of the team. He's having a poor season, like Tarkowski. Poor season. And you've got Merlin Roll who can cover the ground there. Do you remember a couple of years ago he used to rotate Idrissa Gana Gueye and Ghana? Idrissa Gana Gueye and Onana used to get rotated constantly. Ghana, he's playing 90 minutes every week. No, not a chance. Merlin Roll in the team for the next match versus Sunderland. Sunderland, look at the recruitment. Our recruitment is shocking. Look at the crap players we have signed. We've got a left back. We signed the left back who's nowhere near ready. We didn't sign a right back.
Who's to blame for that? Who's to blame?
We haven't got a fucking. Couldn't rubber two halfknees together for a striker who can. Listen, as I said to Chris before, it doesn't matter who you put up front. A door. It's such a bad analogy, but a door out is. It doesn't matter whether it's made of aluminium. It doesn't matter whether it's made of wood. It doesn't matter whether it's open. It's a fucking door. You can put anyone up front. It is just a striker, another striker. You can put Haaland up front. It's the same thing. He's just going to be isolated on his own.
So
fuck off.
Comment here that ties this in. Kieran Dewsbury Hall today, I'm not sure what happened, but the amount of times that he was overhitting or underhitting through balls, we had I remember when Mikalenko was advanced, he was coming in and he would hit behind Mikalenko to his weaker foot. We expect more from Dewsbury Hall, and today it just wasn't working, right? And part of it's like, did we really have a plan B?
Well, he ends up out on the right.
Dewsbury Hall.
Yeah, he ends up out on the right. But
and
people keep
I guess
saying
that's a plan B. It wasn't.
that
That didn't work either.
Yeah, but you're limited when you sort of like your whole gameplay it revolves around getting it out to the likes of NJ and him dribbling past players, or getting it out to Grealish and him creating space. And then you haven't got a striker who can put the ball in the back of the net. So it's like we look at that team now, we think, where's the goals coming from?
I think tactically, you think about this more and more. Grealish having to face two players or Njai, you've got to have the fullback bumming on beyond to take away one of those players, or at the very least try and drag Spurs out so he can pass around them. Now Spurs, we should have recognised, were playing very deep. They had no interest in playing football. They wanted to have get behind the ball and all of the play in front of them. We didn't go in behind them. We didn't even try and feed Beto and give him the service he commands. But if everything is in front of them, who are the best players to do that? Who can shoot from distance? Dwight McNeil, Charlie Alcaraz. Neither of them can get a real look into this team. But either get your fullback bombing beyond to open up space, or try and suck Tottenham out to play around them to get Grealish and Njai 1v1. Get more midfielders running on into the box to support Beto or Barry. And I liked Barry's performance. I liked Roll's performance. I really liked the two performances there. But I think David Moyes is under serious pressure. 1 win in 7. I don't think the Fried King group will take kindly to this. I think they'll be looking at Sunderland's manager. I think they'll be looking at Bournemouth's manager. I think they'll be looking at they'll have to start succession planning early if this continues. We haven't played anyone decent yet at home. It was a limp loss at City. We lost to a terrible side, Liverpool, who just did us twice. I know I'm losing my head a little bit, and I'm entitled to, but this is an accumulation of weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks of the same. We concede too many goals and we can't score goals. So he's got to change something, or he's going to get changed.
Yeah, the pressure is mounting, and we occasionally win so that the lid doesn't blow off, but it's feeling like that pressure is mounting right now. Wes, what are your thoughts?
Couldn't even beat West Ham. We couldn't even beat West Ham. Exactly. We couldn't beat West Ham. We couldn't beat Villa when they couldn't score a goal. We couldn't beat West Ham. We were so lucky against Crystal Palace. We were played off the park. It's not good enough. It's not good enough because tactically it's just not working. You can't have strikers on their own. You can't have a midfield that can't cover this large pitch. People are saying it's the same size as Goodison. It feels large. It feels, I don't know what it is, but it feels like the players can't cover it.
Well, it seems that our midfield plays so deep that we basically play with a back six. We have two, and then we've got Dewsbury Hall either on the right or on the left. So we have no middle other than an isolated striker half the time. I think that's a huge part of our problem right now. How do we not just give up the midfield to the opposition? Because it was just like a ball of 6 Spurs players, and it was hard to break through them, but we didn't make it difficult. I really liked seeing Merlin Roll come in because he had that physicality. He could track back,
and he was quick.
Forward. It was, and
his touch was good.
And what we needed to do then was have him on earlier when we actually had fresh legs over and occasionally overlapping runs. Let's say with Mikalenko, when he was bombing on into those positions, Merlin Roll could do the same thing.
Absolutely.
I want to see him instead of Garner Gay next week starting.
Absolutely. Yeah, I'm okay.
Are you starting?
Yeah, 5 minutes. 7 o'clock. I'm at work. But I'm not currently on duty till 7 o'clock, so I've got 2 more minutes. But I agree about Merlin Roll. I loved the performance from Merlin Roll, the tenacity, the speed, the willingness to win the ball back, the wanting to drive the ball up the pitch and make things happen and make good runs in behind them. He was a game changer. But unfortunately, too little, too late. The problem is, and Chris, you touched on it, the midfield is so deep because you are literally compensating for the fact that your 2 centre halves are so slow. Your left back is so slow. Your right back is so slow. You're all so slow.
Yep. Right. We basically have to play. We can't play a high line, so everyone has to drop back accordingly. Then we're stuffed.
But actually, we are playing. We do watch us in some of the games. We've got Michael Keane and Tarkovsky literally on the halfway line. But then it's like a box of 4 players, because they know if as soon as they turn the ball over, we can't get back. We've got no legs in there. That's why I personally loved Amadou Onana because of his recovery, his long legs. He could recover the ball back. Wormy, I'm saying they're slow in possession when they're actually building up the play. And I'm saying they're slow to cover the ground.
And the funny part is Mikalenko, the only pace that we have in our back 4, and I'm not even saying he has true pace, but faster than the rest of them. he's bombing on and then having to do recovery runs. So then whoever was in the back was basically no one could. If Richarlison, for example, was bombing through, the only person that could keep up with him, I guess, at the end was James Garner. But I want to bring up something else too. The third goal today from Spurs, I think, really touched on a point of the problem that we had, and we could not manufacture what they did simply. So going to the back post, caught James Garner out of position, a good crossfield header back into the center of play, like into the center, and an easy finish. We were aiming for the back post consistently. Never were able to isolate and expose. Or we couldn't get to the back post, win a header, and we were trying consistently. And Spurs just did it. And you've seen here, they were in first gear half the time, and they were able to pull that off, and we couldn't execute that once, it seemed. So we need to come up with something different from our deliveries as well, because it just wasn't happening.
The thing is, for me, right, is
Gotta go in a second.
for their first goal, right, you had Michalenko marking Benton Kerr. So you had your left back marking a defender at the back post. You're like, what? Why is that? Why wasn't Jake O'Brien there? Jake O'Brien would have cleared that ball easily.
We stopped that goal if we man mark, and we probably should have switched tactic for the second goal. When you can see that it wasn't working, and every corner they looked like scoring, they were just dropping it under our heads. We got 6-foot players, we've got a massive team, but then that's why at half time I would have brought on Roll earlier, because you think about it, we have got a massive team in terms of some of them, but then Grealish and Jai, Garner, you've got some four small players there. At least Dewsbury Hall, we've got 5 midgets.
And Dewsbury Hall, yeah.
You've got 5 midgets. You needed to do something, and that's on David Moyes more than anything. And I'm falling out of love with him after these games. This season's just been not very nice. We got lucky against Brighton. We got lucky against Palace. I don't know what I'm looking at. I don't know what this style of play is. I don't like it. I'm bored. I'm not excited. He's boring me to death. I liked Grealish, but he's deliberating on the ball too much. Wait, just fucking shoot. I've got to go, boys. I love talking to you. And yeah, I've got really wound up. But it's because we invest so much into this team. Thanks, Ross. We invest so much into it, and it really does hurt, doesn't it, when things don't go your way? So I'll have to love and leave you because I'm on duty now.
Yeah.
See you later, right?
See you later, mate. Thanks, boys.
Yeah. And we're talking about the frustration with it, right? And I think I've talked to you about this separately, where it's like, for me, for work, I get up at like 4 o'clock in the morning. So when I'm off work, like right now, I have to restructure how I sleep. I have a midday sleep, go to bed at like 7 to wake up again at 11 to do this.
Yeah.
Then it's now nearly 3 in the morning. So I've been up in the middle of the night, messing up my sleep and health, like a bit of health, to watch this, talk about it, and say, is it worth my time to be waking up at 2 a.m.? You say you love the team, but you're like, I'm not. It's not an enjoyable experience right now.
No, it is tough for you being on the other side of the world. And obviously it was a little bit easier for you when you was in the States, but at the same time, it was like me when I went over to visit my sister and over your your side of the world.
Mm-hmm.
We was getting up 12, 1 o'clock in the morning, watching games, and then you get beat and you just think, why have I just done that? Do you know what I mean?
Yep.
But it's just in our blood, isn't it, Chris? That's the thing. It's like, no matter how much pain they put us through, we still keep coming back for more. We're like sadoists. What is this? Sadoists?
Sadomasochists?
Yeah, we're like sadomasochists. We just love the feeling of pain.
Yeah. Well, it's partly that, but it's also there's the principle and pride to say, if you're willing to give up on your squad, then what does that say about you? The problem, and I think that if you're truly committed to the club at all, you have to keep going, but you kind of feel like you're being played the fool, because when does it change? Will it change? Okay, we're clearly better than we were in maybe 2 seasons ago. You can see that. Look, we're upset about the result. Clearly, we let some sloppy goals in. We didn't score our chances today. We scored one that was disallowed. We had a couple opportunities, and it wasn't. There were times I remember I think we lost like away to Man United 3-0, where we couldn't even like get the ball into the 18-yard box. We're generating chances, but do not convert them. Like Beto's one today, his bicycle kick, it was inches away from it feeling like a very different football match. I'm not trying to defend Everton here, but all you need is a stroke of luck that didn't go our way. We weren't good enough either, but you score a couple goals and all of a sudden things change again. But right now it's just not working. The passes are a little bit off, but we're also not taking the risks, and we're not having that ownership in our own 18-yard box defending set plays, which was the first time we've seen it all season, really.
The thing is what's the solution that Moyes can come up with, right? I know people are saying around and sort of like saying, sack him and this, that, and the other, and get rid of he's a dinosaur and blah, blah, blah. But he wasn't a dinosaur last season. He basically saved us from relegation. But that's not me defending him, right? Like I said today in the pre-match, didn't I? I thought that it would have been a good idea to drop Jimmy Garner and bring in Charlie Alcaraz or Merlin Roll.
Yep.
Do you know what I mean? And obviously that kind of transpired in the end, but obviously with Jimmy Garner going to right back.
Yep.
But it gave us more control of the game. Whether that was Spurs kind of tiring by the end of that game, or they were 2-0 up, they were cruising. Once they went 2-0 up, let's be honest, Chris, right? Once they went 2-0 up, they knew that we weren't going to go and score 2 goals. They knew that. They were in fully control of the game. And people, Ryan saying now saying we were the better team. Like, I didn't see that. I didn't see that. I seen the fact of a team that was trying to get back into the game, and a team that had it fully under control.
Yep. The fact that the game was boring suggests that Tottenham were able to make it boring, therefore they were the better team because that's what they were going for. You can play boring football and not be interesting in the eye, and intentionally do that, which meant you dominated the game. So therefore you're the better team, even if it wasn't attractive, because that's what your intention was.
Yeah. What's going on? I can't even see the comments.
We've got Wes on a widescreen here. There we go.
Yeah, no, I can't see the comments. I don't know what's happened to the comments.
People they're still on there.
Yeah, I can see them on my screen, but because I'm on my phone, it's tiny. I can't read them, even though I've got my bins on. But yeah, it's just frustrating, especially realistically. I don't think that 3-0. I think 3-0 flattened Spurs a bit. Flattened Spurs a bit.
It flattens them. But we did not deserve a point today for me.
No, we didn't.
But we didn't.
No.
It wasn't a 3-0, but we didn't deserve a point.
No, definitely not. Like Spurs probably deserved the win because we didn't create enough, which is like the story of our lives, isn't it? Do you know what I mean? You've probably got, 2 of the best wingers, let's say, with NGI and Grealish, but you're not creating a lot of chances.
Yeah, well, the fact that Illiman and Jai basically was the standout, other than Haaland last week against City, says how effective he's been, and we know what Jack can do. And at times it felt like he was playing a little bit too shallow, and then out of nowhere he takes on 3 players and has his excellent moment, and you go, that's kind of expected of wingers, but they're consistently taking on multiple players at a time, putting something out of nothing and going, we have these players, how are we not, what's the next step to put it together? My thought is we need more numbers in the middle, and giving the ball earlier to the likes of Beto or Tiano Barry.
See, I mean, Barry came on and he put himself about a bit. I thought he'd done all right when he come on for his little cameo. You know what I mean? But it's like, and then like, because we're so like desperate for goals and short of goals, people are saying, oh, give Tiano Barry, 3 or 4 games. And we were saying the same about Beto. But ultimately, they're just as shit as one another. See what I mean? Like, neither of them can turn around and find the back of the net. But then is that down to the fact that they're not getting the balls threaded through to the, you know, to sort of, and we know Barry's got no pace, but Beto has. But I don't know, it's just frustrating, isn't it?
Well, I've become left-footed now, so that's good. Let's see.
Who's this? Who's this? Says.
Oh, funny.
But, you know, we can go round in circles, can't we? And just keep picking out the bad things. The good thing, I think, is the fact that we did have the ball for quite a bit and have quite a bit of possession and knocked it about a bit. The fact that we couldn't do anything with it at the end of it is immaterial, isn't it?
Yeah, and there was a couple high quality saves in there by Vicario, and it goes back to he's a reasonable shot stopper, but physically a bit like Pickford, honestly. The second you've got bodies next to him, he'll get overpowered, and we didn't take advantage of it.
Yeah, I mean the disallowed goal. Obviously, I can see why it was disallowed, and Ryan was kind of jumping all over that about Pawson was eager to disallow it, but when you stood behind the goalkeeper, that's always been offside in the rules of football. You know what I mean? So, but maybe you can turn around and pick at it and go, why was NJ there in the first place? You know, he should
it would have worked
have
before
been
VAR, but
but
not
he
in these days.
He should have been stood in front of the goalkeeper and not behind him.
But even still, if he was in front of the goalkeeper, it's still offside. Actually, he needed to go another few meters.
Well, not if there's a what's name and not if there's a defender behind a goalkeeper. I don't even know whether
maybe I misread. I'd have to go back and look at the footage. I thought that both Grealish and Njai, they were either side of him sandwiching the keeper, but I thought the rest of the defensive line for Spurs was further. It was maybe a couple meters further up, and that's what.
I'd have to go.
And they hung out to block the keeper.
I'd have to go back and look at it, but that was obviously a tactic from Moyes, wasn't it? Because like Ryan said, he is a weak piss goalkeeper when it comes to crosses and set pieces and stuff. So obviously the plan was to sort of disrupt him, but then it ends up giving away an offside and cancelling out a goal. So
yeah, so Trilos here is saying it wasn't because of Njai, it was Grealish. I believe both of them were in an offside position. One was behind the keeper and I think Njai was actually behind Vicario and closer to the net than even the keeper was, and Grealish was between or ahead of Vicario, but still in an offside position. So I think they were both offside influence in that.
I don't think we can really sort of have a gripe about that at the end of the day.
No, I'm not.
No, I mean,
but people keep asking about it, and that's why I'm talking.
Some people are. You know what I mean? Some people are saying it never should have been disallowed. It wasn't a legal goal. Simple as that.
Yeah. Well, if that happened to us, we'd be outraged that it wasn't called. So to me, it was the right decision, unfortunately.
Yeah, and we had a little back and forth before, didn't we, in our chat saying about Grealish getting the yellow card for moaning, but it's happened a few games this season where he's getting constantly fouled, and it's happened throughout his whole career, and yet the referees quickly dishing out yellow cards for Everton players, and yet Grealish is getting constant fouls. As soon as he moans about it to the ref, he gets a yellow card.
Yeah, it's the easiest. And okay, my frustration with that about Jack at that moment wasn't that I don't agree that he shouldn't be frustrated, but it's the easiest yellow card to give away now is complain to the ref, automatic yellow card. So of course, what did we expect? We know what what's going to come from it. Give Craig Pawson shit. You know what's going to happen? He defends himself and gives a yellow card, and it's like, well, we know that's what's going to happen. So it's
but
how
that's
do
because
you
he's spineless.
Yeah, but they're allowed to do it, so don't be shocked that they give a yellow. It can still be really frustrating because, yes, that was a moment. Yes, it was. He had to drop deep to get it, but that was a counter-attacking opportunity that was shut down. Grealish turned into the middle on his left side and was just pushed over by, I think it was Bentancur. I can't recall who it was at this point, but he clearly gets fouled. He was turning into the middle for a rare opportunity where we were actually catching Spurs out of position, and just a convenient yellow.
Yeah, but
And
also watching that game today, right, is before they kicked off, it was all about Spurs' away record and this, that, and the other, and you know how great they've been away from home, and they've even got a graphic up now on the TV showing the results what they've had away from home. So Sky were desperate for Spurs to win that game today. You know what I mean? It's like
so they could use all of their homework to show it on.
Yeah,
Look at all
so
the
they can
prep work we
throw
did
the-
for when Spurs
yeah.
finally win.
Yeah, so they've got all these graphics up so that they can justify, you know, what they've actually somebody's set up in the background and researched. But ultimately, it's a defeat. But there's no easy games in the Premier League. I think we sort of, you know, with the record that we've had here, and the fact that even I mentioned it in the pre-match, the fact that they had played midweek, thought that would have went for us in our favour, but it didn't. I thought they tired a bit in the second half, but then they brought on the fresh legs, and Moyes didn't react to that.
Yeah. And again, we've had time, and we looked more fatigued, about as fatigued
Yeah.
as I am at 3:13 in the morning.
Yeah.
And yeah, well, I think the biggest sign was the amount of people that, you know, it was a cold, wet, and windy afternoon in Liverpool, and you know, imagine going to these matches and and everyone's leaving early saying it isn't worth my time. You're spending your hard-earned money to go to these matches and you leave early to beat traffic. It wasn't remotely close. We got beat 3-0. Granted, the score is a bit flattering to Spurs, but losing 3-0 is embarrassing to almost anyone. And
Yeah. Well, we move on, don't we? But are you
Yep,
going to
we
do
have
it?
to.
Are you going to do it? Because next week at the HD Stadium, we've got the Aussie Ashes, Australia against New Zealand, Australia against England in the Ashes in rugby league. Bearing
Well,
in mind, Australia have just absolutely stuffed England 26-6 or something in the last game.
well, maybe we should do that so at least we have something new to talk about other than Everton can't manufacture goals.
Yeah, but is it okay if I become an adopted Australian for that day?
Oh, that's all right. Just you'll wear that tourist wide rim hat with the corks on it just to get all the flies
I
away.
had one of them. I've got a picture of me with one of them on.
Yeah.
So anyway,
Yeah.
mate, I think we should
I
end
think
the
it's
stream
time to
there because
close it
you
up.
need to go and get some sleep.
I do indeed. All right. Well, thank you everyone for listening along, and frustrating
Have a good
day.
rest of the
We have
week.
to go again. Till next time, up the Toffees.